So you'll see from, as compared with the agenda you received previously, there is one addition. That's not the minutes. It's toward just before,
Church Street?
yes, the Church Street ADU.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
Church Street ADU, accessory dwelling unit.
Okay.
About number 8 or 9?
9,
Okay.
number 9.
It wasn't on the one I sent out previously.
Okay.
And it's short, I think.
Okay. All right, declarations or conflict of interest. Approval of the minutes, including the Church Street ADU.
I'll move to approve the minutes of August 20th, 2025.
I'll second that.
Motion moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Are you approving the agenda or the minutes?
Yeah, we
The
didn't approve the
minutes.
agenda, I think.
Oh,
Oh, right.
It's not on there, that's why.
Agenda.
Oh, there it is, sorry.
We'll go back and do that.
oh, right, because we had the addition.
I'll move to approve the agenda for this evening.
I'll second that.
Motion for the agenda moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mitch. Planning and Development Report.
Right. So you got this in two tranches, one yesterday evening that had everything apart from the permit section. And then today, the permit section was included. That always takes me forever to get done, and I didn't have the stamina last evening. So just running through things quickly. I'm noticing an increasing number of solar installations that we're getting. So that seems to be picking up in town, and they're almost all by Polaron, who I think offer a financial package so that you don't have to put out any money up front, which makes them quite appealing. And I think that we'll just see more and more of those as people, particularly if they read the news about the Nova Scotia Power rate hike request. We've got someone who's purchased one of the older homes that probably, if it was let go much longer, would have been at risk, and they are going to do a full renovation on it. So that's exciting to see that people are starting to appreciate these homes and want to do them. I've got some photos I took, was it yesterday or the last time I was here? I can't recall now. Of a place on Campbell's Road that's really come along now. It's looking beautiful. I don't know if you guys have been there, but that house was stripped right back to the boards, and the outside is done now, and it looks amazing. It kind of shows you that these houses have really good architecture. It's just hard to see sometimes if they've been let go too far. We've had the building inspection team, and I call it a team because our inspector and his son, who is also an inspector, have been working on retiring some of the permits that were outstanding for a long time and that seemed to be sluggish. People weren't calling for inspections, or they were supposed to come back with information and didn't happen, so they were getting kind of stale, and we've been working our way through those. So you'll see a few more in the retired section. And we have several more that letters are going out on. So again, next month, we should also see a few more of those older permits getting closed off, which would be good. And generally speaking, we've got a lot of open permits right now, but they are moving along. And it's quite possible, particularly with Penwick Lane quads, there's just so much going on in some of these that it's kind of hard to keep track. But as we go through these PAC meetings, I will be updating these as much as I can. I mentioned last time that we have an application to demolish, it's not here because it's not completed yet, but there's an application to demolish the old Salvation Army thrift shop finally, and we've been unable to find a new home for it, which is, to me at least, quite sad. I was hoping that we could find a way to reuse that building because it's, you know, one of the last really kind of quaint buildings on the main street, and it could be quite beautiful if we could find a place to put it, but that's proven to be difficult, primarily because of the low wires.
Mr. Chair, through you to Sean, does that indicate that the proposed development on that site, including that site, is nearing some action moving forward?
So you'll recall several months ago that I talked about having met with architects on that project, and they had pretty substantial plans, but I could tell that those plans were not meeting the approval of the owner at that time, and so they, I'm sure, went back to the drawing board. I've seen nothing since then. I think what they're doing is just trying to have things ready so that when they do come in with plans, that things like this aren't going to impede progress or slow them down. That's my guess, but I haven't had any recent communications on that.
And I did note several weeks ago that there was activity on the adjacent lot that I understand they purchased as well.
Yes, well, they're
And their
surveyors.
stakes, their survey
That's
was
right.
done, and there was some drilling being done there, I expect for compactation sort
Yeah.
of thing.
So we have a surveying team working on consolidating that, and that's an application that we have
So
in now for me to
I ask
process.
that because this potentially will jumpstart the revitalization of our Main Street downtown. I mean, this is a very significant undertaking that's being
100%.
proposed, including the former Scotia Bank that now is the medical center, taking in the property of where the Salvation Army building is, that
Yes.
now is going to be demolished apparently, and the adjacent properties. It's going to be so I'm excited to see what they come up with as far as their plan, and hopefully we can, this body and council can expedite things if it meets, all the requirements that are necessary. Because
think
I
it's-
think it's going to be it's going to change, immediately change the look of our Main Street.
It will be a lot busier, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Which hopefully will bring other things.
I think we're going to need to take a look at both short-term and long-term parking and where it can be hidden, like find pockets for more parking. I don't want to use buildable lots for it, but we do need to find out places that we can squeeze it in here and there to make that available for people.
Thank you.
Mr. Weirs mentioned that he had heard recently from the Do Build team, so that's on the list of potential residential projects that are sort of not doing much right now, but they do seem to be still interested. It was a fairly significant residential project that they're considering. I hadn't heard that they were still pursuing it, but we do know the lot sold, so that may be coming our way in the not too distant future.
Which could be another significant development in the town of Westville, obviously.
Yeah, just on that, it wasn't a commitment to do anything, it was just, an email basically saying, we've closed on the particular lot that they were interested in, and, we're looking forward to developing in Westville, period.
Right.
What that means, whether that means next Friday or 10 years from now, I have no idea, but
With some
they're
of the,
thinking of us anyway.
right, and with some of these developments, I'm curious to know what the new program, new agency that the federal government has set up for housing, Build Home Canada, I think it's called, BHC. And, it's a new agency that they've set up, a separate entity, similar to others that have existed in the past, but it's geared towards affordable housing and increasing the housing stock throughout the country. And I hope that, those developers that we're talking to now can take advantage of some of the monies that are going to be coming through that program. It looked extremely significant.
Yes, yeah, it was billions.
Okay. I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, and I just wanted to reiterate it. I've had continued meetings with the property owner who is involved in the application to rezone off Barker's Lane. And there has been no resolution of exactly what parcel would be involved in that rezoning. So I'm not going to bring it forward again until there is something. I just wanted to let you know that that's where things are. It hasn't gone off the radar entirely, but it seems to be I wouldn't say stagnant, but it seems to be in irons, to use a sailing expression.
And am I correct to assume that the information that was gathered at the public hearing, not a public hearing legally or called for, but the hearing, the information session, I
The
guess. better.
information
Yes,
session.
The information session is the word I should use, not a public hearing. The information session we had with residents in that area, that those were conveyed to the developer for consideration,
There
all
were,
those
yes.
points that were raised?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, in multiple ways,
right.
multiple times.
So
And we haven't heard anything since.
Okay, that's what my question, yeah, we haven't heard anything back.
No. And so, you know, there will be no further work on the town's part until there's an actual application to change zoning on that site. So until that happens, you know,
Right.
that's in the proponent's side of the court.
So the next two things go hat in hand, the consideration of enabling flag lot development and the major plan amendment. We've for a while now been saying that we're going to do these together, and because of how much is going on, for myself alone to get this done would be a real challenge, but I've engaged another planner to work with me to help with this, and that would be someone that would be reporting to me, and then I'll carry it forward.
Just on that, just to add a little color commentary for the committee, we will be able to pay for that additional work through our Housing Accelerator Fund money. So I've had the conversation with CMHC. They're agreeing that this is an important thing for Westville to do in terms of facilitating further development in the town. So, you know, it doesn't go to the taxpayer, it doesn't go to the levy. So it's not an additional staff person that we're bringing on. We're bringing on somebody basically as a consultant. You know, once the work's done, they'll be done, and we have funding to pay for that consulting.
Scott, just a quick question on that. Does that require a resolution of council to divert that grant money, or is that operational?
Yeah, that's all under the approval I needed was really CMHC to nod and say, yes, that works for us. So yeah, it doesn't need to go to council because it's not a capital expense.
You-
Mr. Chair, if I might address Mr. Weirs, just a note, when I was at the IPAC, one of the sessions said that every town and municipality should have development charges. It's to the point now where and when you just mentioned money and they said, if you want to avoid taxing your people, you have development charges. And I know you had raised it in previous meetings, so they pushed it in one of the sessions.
You know, it's a fascinating debate,
Yeah.
right? You know, I mean, in Ontario, they've gone the other way.
Bit too far.
The provincial government has said, thou shalt, municipalities, thou shalt institute development charges. Mr. Day and I have had several conversations with, you know, relatively senior planner types within the government of Nova Scotia. And there the direction is apparently the reverse, which is we don't want you to go to development charges because there is pushback from on the development community, you know, for example, in the Ontario case where, you know, those charges have become sizable pieces of the cost of
Yeah.
new developments. So,
Yeah, and they mentioned that too, the excessiveness of some of them, where that's, you know, $750,000 and it just,
Yeah,
but
well,
they said a
and-
lot of the time
and-
it's to deter development. They don't want more development, so they make it almost impossible. But when they did the session and said, you know, it's a good moneymaker for small towns and municipalities
Yeah,
to.
well, and not really a moneymaker. Like, the point is for development to pay for
For,
growth.
pay for it, yeah,
Right.
As opposed to
That's right.
having current residents
pay for the
pay
growth.
for growth.
Right.
Right, which
Yeah.
then, you know, so growth pays for growth, basically, right? Now, the downside is, it can, in a situation, and I believe the reason the Ontario government went to the thou shalt place was to avoid winners and losers. So, Pictou County would be a great example,
Yeah.
right? There's six municipalities in relatively close proximity to each other. If one picks development charges and 5 don't,
They're gonna lose out on probably all of
yeah,
the,
the people with the development charges, may effectively be boycotted
Sure.
by the development community, right?
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a, are you a price taker or a price maker, right? And so I think that's why municipal affairs in Ontario went to the kind of, you're all gonna do it, pick the level at which you're going to place those fees, but you all have to put them in.
Right.
So that every developer knows, well, yeah, there may be a slight price difference, but everybody's got development charges. I mean, there are some municipalities in Nova Scotia who talk about having development charges, but as I read their bylaws, they're really kind of supercharged connection fees
Oh, okay.
to either their water system or their sewer system or whatever, right? Rather than real development charges, which are, if you want to, for every unit you're putting in, you need to give the town $10,000. And then there are the connection fees and all of that. So it's a base fee that everybody pays. So right now, there are very few, there's a couple that have development charges in Nova Scotia, but it's few and far between.
East Hants, maybe they mentioned?
It's some of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
That are in the kind of the commute shadow of
Yeah.
Halifax.
Okay, that makes sense. I just thought it kind of fell right into what we were talking about.
May I ask what IPAC is?
Institute of Public,
Public Affairs Canada. Public Institute of Public Administration Canada.
Administration Canada, yeah, not affairs.
Yeah, Public Administration.
So it's for all service.
It's a bureaucrat organization of some
Yeah,
kind.
it's an organization of bureaucrats.
Pretty much.
Sounds fun, huh? Yeah.
Sounds like an
Been
exciting
to
meeting.
been to a lot of those.
Sorry for all those bureaucrats that are watching.
Been watching it.
No slight intended.
Yeah.
So moving on to development agreements on the Union Street townhouses that we'll be seeing come to council the 22nd, I believe.
Correct.
Monday.
I was just speaking with the engineering team who's working on the site plan, and we kind of worked out a few things. I'm hoping to get an updated site plan that I can include in a report and get it out before the weekend so that you'll have some more reading. But I think you all know what's going on there. And it's a pretty exciting project for the town. And as far as I know, so far, the only comment has been keep the trees.
The trees, yeah.
And so we have that written right into the site plan, keep the trees. Unfortunately, the position of the driveway actually coincides quite nicely with the existing opening into the site, and so even that won't require any major changes along the bank. On the Drummond Shaw development, just wanted to report that the subdivision is finalized, and we have updated civil drawings after some back and forth with town engineering, and now we're just waiting for the building permits to roll in.
So ideally, normally, how long after the building permits come in do they start normally?
So those are modular units, so there's very little to do on the building
prep
inspection
work over
side.
here, okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
so I think they're gonna be pretty straightforward.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, they'll need to put in the servicing,
Yes.
so the water, the sewer.
Are they going on slabs or basements or,
We think
Just
that
curious.
they're gonna do shallow concrete foundations,
Yeah.
but they may do screw piles. I think that they've explored mounting them in the same way that a mini home would be
Right.
done, but I think because they're going to be sold, I believe that they're going to want to do them on something more permanent.
more permanent?
But
Okay, perfect.
The other meets code as long as they're engineered to withstand torsional twisting, right?
Right.
If things move around.
Mhm.
So it's kind of more up to them. I don't, Scott, do you recall, did we have anything in the agreements? No, I didn't think so.
I don't believe we did, no. What we just needed to be permanent and, for both financing and insurance purposes, right? So,
I guess I was just curious because of where they're going and the uses that that land was used for back in the day type thing, right? So the
yeah,
digging and stuff like
that
that.
particular part of the Pioneer Coal property
Right.
was never excavated.
Okay, yep.
So that's,
Perfect.
which is why they've chosen that particular site.
Okay,
Just, a few tens of meters further into the site
yes,
was the rim of the pit.
okay.
So where they're proposing to put them is actually on undisturbed land.
Undisturbed land, perfect.
Yeah.
Nope, just curious.
There's too many queries, general inquiries, for me to run through them all. Did anyone have any questions about any of the ones that are in that fairly extensive list?
No, sorry, but I just had a question about the Acadia Ave development. What was this about neutralized by Nova Scotia Power? Did we talk
So
about that?
we have on the agenda, we're going to talk about a
Oh.
conversation we had with Nova
Gotcha,
Scotia
okay.
Power. Yeah.
Okay. So it's
If-
being
If I
tabled.
might just, I think with regard to stop work orders, some of you will have known that there's a house being, in addition to a house being put up or added, there's an addition to a house on Union Street. There was a stop order put on that development a couple of weeks ago. It's now been lifted because all the inspections that were needed have been,
It was more of an
Achieved.
information, it was an
Yeah.
information thing.
yeah.
That was 2059.
So just in case some of you were
2059.
wondering, because I know it was a bit of a cause there for a moment, so anyway.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Sean again. My only comment on all the general inquiries is that let's keep them coming. Without these are the germination point of ideas and possible things that may be happening development-wise. And so I'm excited to see that there's so many. I hope that we get 3 pages of the next month or so, because it shows the interest and the willingness to do some things here development-wise. So that's all good as far as I can see. Can I quickly ask, though, about I understand that on Acadia Avenue, the second unit, I believe, was delivered within the last week or so?
I think it's on site but not installed.
Right. So my understanding was that their plan was to have one a month, each month, as we progress on that development.
And the owner is writing leases now. I think he's up around 4 leases now, and
Right.
we've had, I had some commentary. It was actually when I was reaching out to staff to comment on Union, I was speaking with Ken Dunn in the fire department, and he mentioned a concern that he had about the way the civic addressing was done for Penwick Lane
Right.
off Acadia. And so I've been talking to a provincial rep about that. Westville is kind of unique in having this 4-digit numbering system. Even if you're the first house, you still have 4 digits.
Right.
And so to be more consistent with the rest of Westville, we are going to revise those numbers. And I was working on that actually just moments ago, trying to get a confirmation that what I'm proposing is going to work for the province as well, for their civic addressing in 911. So that's in the works. The owner is quite anxious to get that sorted so he can finish off those leases and
Wow.
keep churning them out. So that's exciting to hear. that-
So exactly, I was just going to say, developers out there that haven't chosen to come and build those rental units, these units that are being built currently are rented before they're actually finished. At least the people are lining up saying, I want that unit
Yes.
when it's ready for occupancy. And that's a good testament right there that these leases are being in the works for the units that are there currently. So, I say it again, anybody out there that's in the rental business, looking at rental business, there's lots of need, and there's people willing to rent those new units that are being built. So that's a great sign, really.
I actually had a community member speak to me about the one on Acadia Avenue, and they, through the conversation, led me to believe that somebody had already leased it and was living there. In the one that has been there since July,
In the first one, yeah.
the very first one.
I can investigate that. I don't know that an occupancy permit has been issued, or you can issue partial occupancy permits or part of a building.
Right, maybe they're just in the middle
So-
of moving in, or
Yeah,
they've
I will
been
have
an
to check with the
accepted.
inspector to see if that's occurred.
Great, thank you.
You can also sometimes move in stuff
Yeah,
without yourself
before,
living
that's
there,
right.
so-
Yeah, and if it's there and ready, and that unit has been there for quite some time, not the newer unit that's just gone in. Yeah,
Also a sign of need.
yeah, excellent, yeah.
Okay. So moving past those.
Can I make a comment about dangerous and unsightly? Just Diamond Street, you'll remember that there was.
We had a date.
We got no response from the owners, and so staff are seeking a quote for the demo of the building. Sadly, staff did actually have a look inside last week, I guess it was, and have advised that, yeah, it's, if somebody had intervened, sort of 4 or 5 years ago, it would have been salvageable. It's not really salvageable now, that it's,
Yeah.
the interior is rotting away, and so floors are gone and that sort of thing. So it does need to come down, and my guess, I don't know, but it's probably a $4,000 to $6,000 touch that will be required to take it away. That'll go on to the tax bill of the property, which will be a challenge for us to recover.
Yeah,
And I was
to
just gonna
collect,
ask,
yeah.
Are the taxes actually being paid, or?
They have been
Have they? Okay.
up to now, but,
Once we demolish the property.
yeah, right. So I have no idea, I haven't received anything. We've reached out several times. There is no active phone number. There is a phone number associated with the names. I've left multiple messages. We've sent multiple letters. The inspector hasn't received anything either, so.
It's called due diligence.
Seems to me, I don't know if I should keep these in my report because I'm not involved in the dangerous and unsightly actions, so maybe they'll come out of my report and go wherever, in someone else's report.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted, people to know that action is happening on that.
I think
And we're in the process.
that,
Right.
the suggestion that had something been done 4 or 5 years ago is important to note because it to me augurs for a residential standards bylaw, which I know we currently don't have the ability to enforce. But if we can start saving these things by being more timely about when we intervene, I think that would be important for the town to find a way to get to that place. And so hopefully moving forward, we will get to that place. It's also more fair to the residents in the neighborhood.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, do I have anything else? Let's see.
Do we need a motion to approve the report?
I think I'm good.
Anything else?
Unless there's questions, I'm good.
Okay, I'll motion to approve the planning and development report.
I'll second that.
Motion moved and seconded. Question, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
We should note, Mr. Chair, just for the record, that Councillor McGregor is joining us virtually for the PAC meeting. Happens to be out of town, but he's on board at the meeting.
And I can see everybody, I don't know if everybody can see me.
Probably not.
We can.
We can see you.
See a lot of talk. I'm just glad my face isn't up on the big TV there. No, nobody needs to see that.
We'll do that.
It's on the
too.
table and your face is bigger than the owl when you lean
Yes.
forward.
MPS and LUD omnibus amendment phase 1. Speak on that.
So that would be me. The nature of the amendments that we'll be doing are such that they, I think, justify being called an omnibus, set of omnibus amendments, because they're going to touch on a lot of aspects of our documents. I've already mentioned that we're going to have some help in that process. It is a big job, especially doing it in a short amount of time. And I call it phase one because primarily what we're doing is we're touching on some of the really critical parts about aspects of the current documents that slow us down when it comes particularly to housing applications, that put more regulation in front of a project than needs to be there for a lot of the kinds of projects that we're looking at. And also there is an opportunity to reorganize the documents a way that they're more transparent and clear and the intentions are clear. Right now there's a lot of clauses that seem to counter one another, which just creates confusion on all sides and slows everyone down. We won't be able to do a massive amount of public engagement. We're going to do enough to cover the changes that we're proposing to make. In another phase down the road, we would do a full repeal and a much more extensive engagement. And that's actually required now, that by 2029 we do repeal and replace these documents. I was speaking with the province today about all of this, and they understand that ourselves in New Glasgow are going down this path, independent documents that will reflect the nature of these two communities and the intentions of these communities, whereas Stellarton, Pictou, and Trenton have decided to tighten up the document that we've been sharing for purposes that suit their communities. And their communities, in large part, don't have the availability of land or the opportunity that Westville has.
Right.
And so it stands to reason that we would have a different kind of document that, you know, better reflects our abilities going forward, the ability to recreate this community, which is super exciting, but daunting at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's primarily what I wanted to talk about here, is that process, we've begun it. I've already started coming up with a new format, so it will look like a different document, but principally a lot of it will be the same, and we'll just identify what we're proposing to change so that everyone will understand what page we're on and where we're trying to go with it. But, you know, buckle up. It's going to be a busy fall.
Excellent.
Bring it on.
Okay, Nova Scotia Power discussions.
We're
Right.
retired.
I have a couple of pictures to show just to give you a sense of, and this conversation is important not only for this site, which we may or may not be able to result in becoming developable, but more for the bigger picture. Like, we have a lot of developments coming up, and if we're going to go through this on each and every one of them, where the nature of the design of the development is materially affected by Nova Scotia Power regulations, and an approach to implementing regulations that doesn't allow for much back and forth, that doesn't allow for considerations of other manners of addressing their regulations. Thank you, Mr. Weirs.
Thank you, Nevin.
Okay. No signal. Always run into this every time. Okay. Give me a moment to find out where things are.
No input, it says.
Yeah. Identify. I'm just going to unplug and replug and see if that helps.
I think I'll probably have to join the YouTube stream to see what's on the screen unless Sean join this meeting and share his screen as well. But
Right.
I can make that happen. Don't worry about that. I'll figure that out on my end.
Thank you, Mitchell. I've already got enough technical difficulties going on.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, anytime there's a presentation, sometimes it gets a little screwed up here with this.
So we're still
That's
seeing-
okay. I'll figure it out.
Normally this picks it up right away, so that's a bit confusing, what would be going on
Somebody
here.
had changed.
I can see it here.
Oh, you're getting a
Not
feed?
now.
Well, I am here.
Okay.
And it should be feeding to there.
So it's somewhere, it's not from here to there, it's from there to
From
up there.
over, it
Yeah.
looks like. The little green light is on the receiver over there.
Yep, it is.
Remember when we had flip charts? They were so easy. You might run
Where's
out
our
of ink in your
easel?
marker.
There's a certain charm
All
to
the
it.
time.
Okay, so if I have to do this just verbally, that's fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Paint us a picture.
I'll do my best.
I will say, oddly enough, on the stream online, it is showing your desktop screen though.
Yeah.
Just for your awareness, it is streaming online.
All right, well, you know what, for the people online, I will show some images, and I will try to describe them for the people who are in the room with me and who cannot see the images.
We could all go
They're
online.
lovely.
So, well, this is what we're not gonna get to do.
Okay, there you go.
what is streaming.
Oh.
Oh, okay, so
Wants
not,
to hear again.
We lost Mitchell, I think.
Mitchell, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very much here, yeah.
Can you
We
see?
just can't see you, that's all.
Can you see a perspective of 4-unit development right now?
I can on the YouTube channel that I'm watching. yeah.
Okay.
Okay, interesting.
If we're on YouTube, you can see it.
So, this is not something that was submitted by the applicant. It was something that I used to show what potentially could happen on the site that we sold.
We did drug it, but now I can't. I don't know what you did, now I can't. I could before, when you drug it up, but now I can't.
Nothing on this.
Back to describing it then for everyone. So in front of the Acadia Street or Penwick Lane development of 24 units, there was a town lot which was sold to the developer to do a further development. And the idea was that they could put up to 4 units through site plan approval on that site. Initially, we thought all was good to go. They purchased the lot. Of course, as with all the lots we sell, it had a requirement to build within a certain period of time, and everything looked like it was going smoothly. However, when they applied to have Nova Scotia Power scope the power system for the 24 units, Nova Scotia Power felt that their requirements around easements for that power line would not permit this to happen. So I took another look at the easement requirements, and I found that by placing the poles along the side of the property in question, which aligns with the lane leading into that development of 24 units, that we would meet the 20-foot setback on either side of the power line. We could meet it on the lot we were selling and still put the development on it, and we could also meet it by having that half the easement over the laneway. So we thought, okay, good. We may not be able to make 4. Maybe we can make a few units on the site, but we thought we were still good. When the scoper, or Nova Scotia Power Planner, they call them, not scopers, they go to scope, came to the site, they were not convinced that that could happen, and they caused an easement to be put in place entirely on the lot we sold. And that's why I say it neutralized it, because there's absolutely nothing you can do on that site as a consequence of this easement being placed entirely on the site, with none of it being over the roadway. And that seemed a bit odd and frustrating, to say the least. So I took another look at it, and I showed, and some of you would have seen this now, I think, that we could do 3 units on that site, have the parking required, meet the easements that they require, and that would not only provide 3 units worth of housing, but also somewhere in the region of $1.3 million of new assessment to the town of Westville. And
Which translates into a little under $30,000 a year in additional tax revenue.
so, by coincidence, I was invited to sit in on a discussion with a member of Nova Scotia Power, talking about the provisions of the easements and the nature of the process that developers go through to get a power installation done. And, part of that conversation was the caution that it's not as easy as one thinks, and it can take a lot longer than you think it should. That was an opening for me to request a meeting with the same person that gave this presentation. And Scott and I met with this representative this past Monday. I think that was a good conversation. I think that they are open to working more directly with us, to have a conversation about how can we find a path forward that doesn't involve something as severe as this. And so that conversation will be happening in I don't know, coming weeks perhaps, that we'll have another chance to meet with them and the planners and the engineers to talk about not just this lot, but also, like, for example, the school lands. Like, is this going to happen on those properties as well? Because we're trying to do smaller lots, more compact lots, because that keeps the price of development down, which can be passed upon to people needing housing. But if we're going to have giant easements everywhere that mean you can't build on a piece of land in the way one anticipates, that will drive up the cost, because developers will have, there will be more costs associated with roads going to fewer properties, for instance, and more costs associated with each individual lot going to people.
Or the developers have to go underground. And Nova Scotia Power itself admits that the price difference is 10 times. So if it's $100 to put it in, it's $1,000 underground to put it. So it's significant. And Mr. Day is being way more collegial than I was feeling about this, because when I found out about it, I fired an email off to senior executives in Nova Scotia Power saying, like, what the? Because this decision takes $30,000 a year for the next 40 years out of the coffers of this town, and that, $30,000 a year to Nova Scotia Power may not be much. $30,000 a year to Westville is a big deal, and it's all on the basis of, Mr. Day had proven that we can align with your requirements, Nova Scotia Power, and generate $1.3 million in assessment and $30,000 a year in additional tax revenue for the town. And your planner says no by putting the line down the middle of a lot and making it unusable. That's not acceptable. That can't be acceptable in this town or any town. So, unless there's if there's a huge public safety issue, I get it.
Right.
But if it's only because it's of ease to Nova Scotia Power, I'm sorry, you need to put you need to abide by your own rules and let us use the 40-foot right-of-way that you demand. We'll give that to you, but let us put in $1.3 million worth of housing that is desperately needed in this town and this country. And we've got some kind of operational preference, it seems, allowing, to use Mr. Day's word, neutralizing the whole effort. So hopefully we are able to find a solution to this. And, as Mr. Day has suggested, in talking with them, we've realized that we need to help them understand where the town's trying to go, and that kind of these, by the seat of the pants decisions aren't helpful. And we need to help bring them into the kind of the cone of silence, as it were, about where Westville's trying to get to with, whether it's Union Street, 16 more units down there, or 65 units up at on South Main. Those are, if somebody makes a goofy decision there about power lines, then we're in real trouble. So anyway, hopefully we get it sorted out.
Yeah, because I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. Like, they're scrutinized right now, Nova Scotia Power, so.
Yeah, one would hope that they don't want additional kind of black eyes, right? Like
I
taking
know.
$30,000 away
From
from
a small
Westville.
town, yep.
That's not a nice thing to do.
No.
And especially if there's no real, if there's no public safety or operational reason to do it, why would you do that?
Would they consider moving the,
I don't know. That was my request. That one,
Move
we
the
have one, I get an explanation as to why. Two, if it's possible, can we move it, right? So,
then go back to the suggestion that Mr. Day had,
yeah,
location-wise?
yeah.
Well, and even if there was something that didn't make sense to them about that, let us take a look at what we can
Right.
do to, satisfy your
I-
needs and still allow something to happen on that lot.
I will say it's unfortunate that our CAO didn't really tell them what he thought. They held back. I think on behalf of all of us, we appreciate those words.
We did appreciate it.
So that's, I mean, that's all I've got on this issue right now. I think it's certainly been a bit of a wake-up call to me that, like, I've been seeing it coming, but I hadn't realized it had gotten to this point. And now it's clear that it is, and it's something that we're all going to have to, you know, be mindful of.
Well, it's good that we've identified it now, like you say, for future developments that we have coming.
Yeah,
that
especially
it
some of
doesn't
the big
happen to
ones,
repeat
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll work with us, as you said, as well, now that we open the dialogue, hopefully.
One thing I did notice is they talk about the price of going underground as being very high, and in the conversation, or the meeting that I attended the previous week, they talked about rock, and it's like, well, not every place is bedrock. We're not all Halifax and South Shore, and so sometimes the cost of going underground may not be quite so bad, especially if it's for a short run. And it may be those short runs that allow a project to succeed. If you're on a quirky lot and you've got some, you know, pinch points, you may be able to drop down, run underground for certain periods, and then pop back up when you've got more space to expand your air clutter. So yeah, it's just one more thing to take into consideration as we, you know, move forward with development.
Thank you both for advocating for us at those meetings.
Okay. Yeah, hang on, did I, okay, I
Church
think I'm
Street.
looking at an old,
The addition of.
yeah,
Church
that's
Street.
minutes. So
ADU.
the ADU. Again, I have photos and a site plan, but I can't share them with you, so I will attempt to describe them. Going south on Church, you are still in the C1 zone, notwithstanding the fact that it looks like a residential zone. And it has always, like, it's been a residential zone for a very long time. It's quite clear when you look at the architecture in the area. And I understand that they probably did that to encourage the expansion of the commercial district, but right now it's causing a bit of trouble. Someone came in to see me asking about the potential of putting in an auxiliary dwelling unit, like a garden suite. In this instance, it's for a family member. Not that that should matter. And so I went and looked at the property. It's a beautiful property, incredibly well kept, and has lots of room for a development in the backyard of a small residential unit. The challenge that we have is that because of the zoning, there is not really a clear path going forward under that zone. And so in discussion with Mr. Weirs, I was talking about the fact that this has always been used as a residential property. So it's effectively a legal non-conforming use. And there is a provision in the Municipal Government Act about non-conforming uses allowing an extension of a non-conforming use on the property. And so
essentially grandfathered.
effectively, that's right. So it is changing it. It is increasing the residential use. But it's nothing close to what one could do if one was doing commercial development on the same same lot as of right. And so my perspective on this, or my interpretation on this, is that first of all, the neighborhood is not going to be hard done by. It's a small, single residential use in addition to the existing one on a fairly large property in a place which is all residential.
Right.
And so Mr. Weirs and I talked about this and felt that we should at least bring this up with the committee, just to kind of for full transparency that this is the approach that we're proposing to use. So.
Yeah, the zoning, I would suggest, I mean, I don't know this for sure, but it looks to me like the zoning was placed over top of the dwelling, like the dwelling predates the zoning.
Right.
And so, you know, that's kind of, you know, it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to say, no, you can't put an ADU on there just because, you know, sometime between when the house was built and today, we chose to put, zone that commercial, right?
This feels like something you found underneath a rock and there was a creepy
It's a-
crawly.
It's a Westfield creepy crawly, exactly. So the proposed solution is to say yes to this ADU and just let them proceed.
So that's a operational decision matter, I'm suggesting.
I mean, it's a judgment call based upon the situation at hand, and I think it's a reasonable and fair one, but wanted to check it out with PAC to see if anyone had any concern with going forward in that way.
This PAC member has no concerns about a garden suite for a family member.
Mitchell?
Mr. Chair, just through Mr. Day there, I feel like I just missed a piece of it. it's existing commercial.
No, it's
Existing
it's
residential.
zoned, it's zoned commercial, but it has, far before there was planning in the town of Westville, this has been a residential property. The house looks like it dates to early 1900s.
So we have a non-conforming house, we have a house that's non-conforming because it's residential on an existing commercial and has been for as long as somewhere along the way, like Mr. Weir said, we imposed a box around it that said it was commercial.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So they don't have to go through the rezoning or any of that stuff, and that was what you're describing. There's a provision to just say, hey, this is a sin of the past that,
It's a one-off.
okay.
Right, and that's why we have
I
these
didn't know that was
sections.
the process because I think there's a reasonable argument could be made about some properties in town that have been operating as commercial for as long as we can remember
Yeah.
residential.
The other way around.
Other way around.
I'm just saying, I just wanted to be clear though, that there was a mechanism to do what you're proposing, because I think the right decision is to do exactly what's being laid out. Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so it's a planning decision that we think is the right one, and we just wanted to be transparent with you about how we're planning to proceed.
It's good,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Yeah, I don't think you even need a vote.
No.
It's a planning decision.
Consensus is that everybody's on board, I believe.
Yeah, it makes, anything that makes sense, I go like this.
Okay, shall we move on? Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, I can, Mr. Chair, take a bit of a crack at that. Not much has happened other than, and I don't know how many of you know, and I don't know the exact date either, but I do know that the RFP time period has been extended till it's either the 2nd or the 9th of October. I can't remember which is the right date, but it was supposed to end in late September. It's been moved out a week or two. For what reason, I don't know. I just know it's been moved out. So that's good. Mr. Day and I and the mayor, in some instances, have been fielding quite a number of calls from organizations of all shapes, sizes, and colors interested in being involved in that.
I imagine, yeah.
It's been a bit of a up and down thing. There is only a finite number of operators who can do this. Some of the calls that we've received have been from development firms who are saying, well, we can build a long-term care facility. And what we've done is we've said, look, the town is agnostic about who the builder is and who the operator is. We will give you all the information that we've got. And we're sharing it with all your competitors. And we're happy to. We believe that 2157 South Main is the right place for it. But if you want to pick a different spot, that's your prerogative. We have no say in where the facility goes. That is between you and the government, and we, the town of Westville, have no input. We do, however, prefer that site. And by the way, we can tell you that there has been public engagement around that site over an extended period of time. And we believe that there is very significant support within the population of Westville for a long-term care facility on that site. Services are available. And by the way, that site is owned by the town, and we're willing to sell you X acres at Y price. And this is exactly the same offer we've made to any of your competitors. And we are willing and able to enter into a agreement of purchase and sale, a conditional agreement of purchase and sale with you at any time.
Okay.
So we have done that
Yep.
with several of these organizations already. They've come in, and some of them are now starting to leave as they dig deeper into the details of what it takes to not only build a long-term care facility, but then operate it. And so, money has been coming in and then going out because they've paid deposits and then we have to refund them. It's kind of a bit of a game, but anyway, it's good to see that there's that much interest. And, you know, in the fullness of time, I suppose I'm expecting sometime before the end of the calendar year, hopefully, possibly, maybe, we will know who the successful, that's the word I was looking for, who the successful bidders are. And it could be, you know, multiple firms, one firm, who knows? And we don't know where any of them are going to pick. And, you know, they should be doing I hope they're doing their own due diligence and looking around Westville for other sites. And we've shared with them all the other sites that we know about that could conceivably hold a long-term care facility on them. So lots of activity, but no forward, you know, lots of wheel spinning and no forward movement on that particular thing, because that
Stationary bike.
is all over. Movement is determined by the government of Nova Scotia.
Can I, Mr. Chair, can I just add just to pick up on what Mr. Weir says, and that's the offshoot that to me was a complete surprise. One of the benefits, unknown bonuses of the long-term care request going out for the proposals is the fact that we're hearing from developers that we would never heard from before. We would never have, and on the other side of the coin, they would never have known about us and what we have to
Right.
offer. And so, just to follow up on the ones that I was involved in, at least with Mr. Day and Mr. Weirs, once we had the discussion about the long-term care site and answered all their questions that they were looking for with regard to that, we then went into discussing with them other potential opportunities for development in the town of Westville. Because these companies that we're talking about are involved in other types of development, building residential and commercial, you know, buildings. And so it's been a real bonus. Like this to me is like a real add-on that I never thought about when the proposal went out. We started getting these calls and emails from firms in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEI, some of the ones that I've seen. So it's
exciting.
we're hoping, and I spoke with the CAO just today and said, you know, we need to have our catalog. We need to be cataloging who these people are and
Keep
their
them for
contact
later, yeah.
information. And we've already invited several of them to come and see what we have to offer you. And they're interested. I mean, these people are, that's their
That's good.
business, and they like the opportunity.
Well, and they know that there will be at least 100 jobs
Right.
that are going to be here. And, you know,
Right.
if there is housing available at the time, then, you know, those people are likely to work here, right? You know,
Another
or live here, I mean.
aspect of this is talking to Nova Scotia Power now about that site, so that isn't something that comes as a surprise to Nova Scotia Power or potential
Right.
bidders on the program. So we're going to be getting in touch with
Proactive.
them pretty quickly to have that conversation too, and to show them, you know, our ideas for the site, so that they can get back to us and say, look, no problem, we've got lots of power there, or we may need to take a look at this. So
And one of the other things you should point out, that most of these ones, that the questions that they're asking are around zoning and requirement for rezoning and all these things. And we've already, this group, the PAC and council have already taken care of all of that. And so we can say to them very quickly, you have no issues there. There'll be no time constraints there. There'll be no holdups with regard to zoning or, you know, all that we've taken care of, and the site is ready to go. So that's a real bonus.
I actually had that very conversation today
There you go.
with one of the operators. They said, you know, is the site zoned? Has there been any community engagement with regard to the site? And I was able to say yes.
Yes,
and
yes,
demonstrate the
yes.
yes, right? Like, show them, here's what it is zoned. This is what you have to do. It is very straightforward. You don't have to rezone it. And yes, we have had engagement and those sorts of things, so.
Yeah.
Right, which is very positive and forward-thinking and reflects well on Westville.
we Mr. Weirs, did you want to carry on with updates?
Oh,
or-
sure, sorry. Shaw Drummond, I don't think there's much other than what Mr. Day has already said, which is we're just really literally now waiting for building permits. The rest of it seems to be under control. They know what they need to do. They've done the engineering. We've done the engineering. So it's just it's a matter of them sorting out their stuff.
Reference Shaw back to the previous comments that I made about the quick turnaround on the rental or take-up of units that were available for rental.
Yeah.
If they want to know, and these units are for sale, I understand that, but they
Right.
will be equally gobbled up quickly. I've conveyed that to, anytime I had an opportunity to speak with personnel from Shaw, I've repeated, because I believe it. I believe that they'll be gone quickly, purchased very quickly.
Main Street, the pop-up market, you know that
We have 0%.
we did get, and for those of you on council, there will be a resolution with regard to spending some of that money, so it's capital money, so I'll need your approval. But there is a plan to put a gazebo there, which
Yeah.
will fundamentally change that and enhance that area. So that's one thing. There's several other things that are in the works that are all being funded through that grant that don't require, that are of a much more operational nature, and so don't require coming to council. But there will be a request for council to consider a capital expenditure for that enhancement to the pop-up market. Sale of town lots continues as we have time and interest, so I don't think there's anything there. Highland Consolidated School, in speaking with Nova Scotia Cooperatives Council this week, they are in the final stages, he said, hopefully, fingers crossed, of selecting an engineering firm to come in and do some assessment of what the potential costs of remediating the Rob Joyce in that school are. So they can't make, NSCC, as part of their due diligence, they can't make a decision today about go, no-go, because they don't know how much it costs to remediate the Joyce. And so we've landed on in consultation with them, we've landed on an approach that says, let's look at a X% of the building and see how many joists need to be fixed, and then multiply whatever that number is by,
Yeah.
if it's.
The other parts of the building.
Yeah, by
Correct.
whatever, by 0.9 or 0.99 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that'll give them that'll give them a reasonably good idea of what the remediation costs are. And on the basis of that, then the staff at NSCC can go forward to the board and say, the building is worth $4 million in its as-is state. We need to spend, I'm picking a number out of the air, I have no idea how close this is. We need to spend $500,000 remediating the joist. That means then that the board can be confident that, it's still a $3.5 million asset. Yes, let's now proceed.
go
It
ahead.
makes sense to go, so what they're worried about is finding out that they've got a $4 million asset and it's an $8 million
Fix.
bill to fix.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's anywhere near what's gonna happen, but they do need to do the due diligence to be able to look their board in the eye and say, ladies and gentlemen of the board, we should be proceeding with, what admittedly is a multi-million-dollar project, right? So it'll probably be, and again, I'm just guessing, but it's probably in the kind of $13 to $15 million range, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, don't know. But, it's not $5.50 that they're spending by next Friday, right? This is a substantial project, and they need to do their due diligence, and their financiers or their funders will not be on board unless they do the due diligence. So it's all part of the process. I know they're working as quickly as they can, and it's never quick enough for, you know, us.
We should just add to that, that the reason that we're in this situation is because when the Rob Joyce issue was discovered in the province created a list of buildings that had Rob Joyce's in their construction phase, and there was a list, and they were inspected to determine whether they're good, bad, or ugly, and what had to be done with them. This school, for some reason, didn't make the list.
Right.
So, you know, that needs to be pointed out. We're in this situation because of that. If that inspection had been done, back when all the other ones were being done, we would have known the state of the condition or condition of the.
And it would have been remediated.
And would have been
Yeah.
remediated?
Right.
Or, in my way of thinking, as I said in the beginning, when this became apparent, that if we knew that they were bad, if the school board knew they were bad,
They would have
that's
dropped it
what
on
would have
that
been
basis,
used as a
that's
reason
right.
to close the school.
Not the mold
Not
and
a
stuff.
suspicious, possible, maybe, mold issue.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was the red light right there to say it was never, either they're good, and the inspection was done, or it was never inspected, which we found out, unfortunately, that they never been
hard
inspected. Hopefully, when the engineer does the inspection, maybe they'll, you know, the other side of the thing is that maybe they're okay.
Yeah, 'cause- so they
Maybe
could
they're
go
okay,
into it and they could
right?
be okay, right?
Yeah,
Right,
they could
yeah.
be
We
okay.
They
don't
may
know
not need
that.
to be
Yeah.
So
remediated.
really, it's,
It's still standing.
yeah, right, it's still standing. And I
So,
don't think
you
the
know,
whole
that's,
building's all
I
one
know a lot of people are
building.
asking that question, I'm sure they're asking,
Yeah.
you guys are all
All the
hearing it, I'm
time.
sure. You know what's
Daily.
happening with the
Yeah.
school, is it gonna go ahead? It's gonna go ahead. I mean, that's just the other thing I think that we should emphasize for the public, is that NSCC have said to us, you know, we are committed to this project, we're moving forward with it, whatever it takes, in whatever form it takes. You know, if it means that we have to demolish and build new, they're prepared to do that as well. Don't want to go there, because the cost would be, you know,
Yeah, that's good.
significantly higher than, as the CEO points out, having a $4 million asset to start with, right?
Yeah.
Are the Rob Joyce's floor joists on both levels, or the roof, or trusses, or joists, or what are they? Are they floor joists? Or the-
Yeah, they're between floors and the roof, so it's everywhere. So they all, yeah, the whole building was built with Rob Joyce. And they're not all bad.
Right.
Right, there's a certain proportion, an unknown proportion of them that are bad. And there is a known and relatively straightforward fix for, like, it's not a complicated fix. And the other thing is, the whole thing's being stripped out anyway.
Right.
So
It'll be
there's,
easy.
Perfect timing.
you know,
It'll be
once,
easier
than
once,
timing.
once you
You're
know
already
what
had
it
it torn
is
apart,
and
right?
where it is, then it's a relatively simple process. Once it's being, abated, once the, you know, the building has been abated, so all the asbestos is taken out, the tiles are taken out, the ceiling tiles are taken out, all that sort of stuff is done, then it's a relatively straightforward process, because you just go through and do what the known solution to the challenge is on those joists that need attention.
Right.
So who was responsible for the list? Do you know?
Yeah, it was a combo of the Ministry of Ministry of Municipal Affairs and the then Ministry of Transportation.
The province,
Which
in
was
other
then
words.
Yeah.
Public Works, yeah. So there was a committee, an interministerial committee identified, and they went around the province and collected a list. There was a list of 119, I think the number is, buildings that were identified as having Rob Joyce in them in Nova Scotia. Those buildings that made that list were all inspected and remediated, and the solution was, and you know, there were years, literally years, if not a decade of lawsuits that sorted out who had to pay for whatever
Who's
part of
liable?
this. And somehow, in the hurly-burly, Westville missed out, we got in the wrong line, or, you know, we weren't put in the right lane, or line.
No.
We got stuck in the wrong traffic.
You have to wonder how many other buildings were the same. I need to think we're the
Very-
only ones.
Yeah.
No, it won't be.
Well, and,
We won't be
and,
the only
you
one
know,
that got
I mean,
missed,
I
yeah.
immediately crawled into the ceiling of this building to look and see if if this building had rock joists, and it doesn't. It has can west joists. So, anyway, the good news is this building is fine. Don't have to worry about it. That building is likely fine. But there needs some remediation and inspection.
Which takes more time, so we all have to work on going through the process, because I think everybody in town, on council, on committee, Nova Scotia Cooperative Council, all want shovels in the ground. So, yesterday,
Awesome.
yeah.
All on the same page.
Nope, done on that. Active transportation, I don't think we have much on that, other than just to say, you know, I'm still waiting for Nova Scotia Power to get back to me on the rights-of-way that we'd identified, and so they will, I know, in the fullness of time. It just takes some time, and we'll see what that brings, or not, right?
Nothing.
Okay. Delegations on issues or discussion.
Anything
arising
on
from
the
business.
active transportation
You
stuff?
just said that.
Oh, there's nothing? I missed that.
We're waiting for them.
I was just seeing if you were a delegation.
Or from business or any other business. Hearing none. Do we have a motion to go in camera?
So moved.
Second that.
Motion moved and seconded to go in camera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'm not leaving. Don't make me get rough with you. I'm calling Mama.